The rain had started as a light drizzle, but now it was pouring so hard that my wipers couldn't keep up. The rhythmic thumping of the blades was almost hypnotic as I navigated the winding mountain road. I was on my way back from a business trip, already running late, and I could feel the fatigue creeping in. It was well past midnight, and the forest lining the road seemed to close in around me, creating a tunnel of darkness. The road was deserted. Not a single car had passed by for miles, and the only light came from my headlights cutting through the rain. The sense of isolation was overwhelming, but I pressed on, eager to get home. My phone had lost signal hours ago, leaving me alone with my thoughts and the endless stretch of asphalt. Suddenly, a flash of movement caught my eye. A deer, I thought. Maybe a raccoon. I slowed down, scanning the roadside, but saw nothing. My heart pounded a little harder, and I tried to shake off the unease. It's just the rain playing tricks on me, I told myself. Minutes later, I saw it again. This time I was sure something, or someone, was out there. A figure tall and dark, standing just at the edge of the forest. I slowed to a crawl, squinting through the rain. The figure didn't move. It just stood there, watching. My skin prickled with fear, and I felt a chill run down my spine. I sped up, eager to leave it behind, but as I glanced in the rearview mirror, it was gone. I turned up the radio, trying to drown out the fear. Static crackled through the speakers, but I left it on anyway, hoping for some company, however distorted. The road continued to twist and turn, the forest seeming to grow denser with every mile. Then out of nowhere, my headlights caught something lying in the middle of the road. I slammed on the brakes, tires screeching as the car came to a halt. My heart raced as I tried to make out what it was. It looked like a bundle of rags, maybe an old coat. Cautiously, I opened the door and stepped out into the rain. As I approached, I realized it wasn't just a coat. It was a person, a woman drenched and motionless. Panic surged through me. Was she dead? Hurt? I knelt beside her, shaking her shoulder gently. "Are you okay?" I shouted over the rain. Her eyes snapped open, wide and terrified. She grabbed my arm with surprising strength. "You have to leave," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "It's not safe here." Before I could respond, she pushed herself up and stumbled into the woods, disappearing into the darkness. I stood there, drenched and bewildered, her words echoing in my mind. I hurried back to the car, locking the doors behind me. My hands trembled as I started the engine and drove off, glancing nervously into the mirrors. The rain seemed to intensify, each drop a hammering reminder of the strange encounter. The road twisted on, and I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. I turned on the high beams, hoping to pierce the darkness, but it only seemed to make the shadows deeper. Suddenly, the car lurched, and I heard a loud thud. I swerved, trying to regain control. My heart raced as I pulled over to the side of the road. The rain pounded on the roof as I sat there, trying to catch my breath. I didn't want to get out, but I had no choice. Something was wrong with the car. I grabbed a flashlight from the glove compartment and stepped out into the storm. The beam cut through the rain, revealing a large branch lodged under the car. I cursed under my breath and knelt down, trying to dislodge it. The rain soaked through my clothes, chilling me to the bone. As I worked, I felt a presence behind me. I turned slowly, the flashlight beam revealing nothing but trees and rain. I shook my head, dismissing it as paranoia. But then I heard it. A faint whisper, almost lost in the sound of the rain. "Leave." I spun around, flashlight shaking. The road was empty, but the whisper continued, growing louder. "Leave now." Panic surged through me. I yanked the branch free and scrambled back into the car. As I drove off, I glanced in the rearview mirror and saw her again. The woman from the road, standing in the middle of the road, watching me with those wide, terrified eyes. My heart pounded as I sped down the road, desperate to put distance between me and whatever was out there. The forest seemed to close in around me, the trees leaning in as if to swallow the car. The whispers followed, growing louder, more insistent. "Leave. Leave now." I didn't know how long I drove, my mind a blur of fear and confusion. Eventually, the rain began to let up, and the forest gave way to open fields. The whispers faded, replaced by the steady hum of the engine. I glanced at the clock on the dashboard. It was nearly 3 a.m. Relief washed over me as I saw a sign for a gas station up ahead. I pulled in, the fluorescent lights a welcome sight after the endless darkness. I parked and sat there for a moment, trying to steady my breathing. I needed to call someone, anyone, but my phone still had no signal. I got out and walked to the payphone near the entrance. As I lifted the receiver, I noticed a piece of paper taped to the side. It was a missing person flyer. My blood ran cold as I saw the face on the paper. It was the woman from the road. I backed away, my mind racing. How was that possible? I had just seen her. The flyer was old and faded, weather-worn. It said she had been missing for over a year. I stumbled back to the car, my hands shaking as I fumbled with the keys. I needed to get home, to get away from this place. As I pulled out of the gas station, I glanced in the rearview mirror one last time. She was there, standing at the edge of the forest, watching me. Her lips moved silently, forming the words I could no longer hear. Leave. I floored the gas pedal, speeding down the highway, the whispers fading into the night. I didn't stop until I reached the safety of my home, but the memory of that night haunted me. A reminder of the things that lurk in the darkness, waiting to be found.